copies and work.
And as you hear, we just passed on the final launcher settings, azimuth and elevation. Came from our range safety officer to our ROA, range operations, and then on to launch control, who will make the settings at the launcher you see on the screen out at the launch pad on Wallops Island. This, of course, goes through safety scrutiny review to make sure that we avoid any hazards, remain within the hazard area dictated by our range safety officer. We are now at 4 minutes and counting.
Copy that. Check 425.
And if you're just joining us, we just passed 3 minutes and counting for our first rocket launch today from Wallops Island, Virginia, as part of the atmospheric perturbations around the Eclipse path, or APEP mission. Much easier to say APEP. I'll say that from here forward. APEP launch here from the MRL launcher on Wallops Island Range. We will have 3 rocket launches today. MRL will be our first launcher, with the closest to you looking our left on the left of the screen. The ARC will be our second launcher, which is not on screen currently. And then our third launch will be from our 50K launcher, which is currently on the right of screen that we're seeing now. Again, the APEP mission here during the eclipse to study disturbances in the ionosphere with our PI, Dr. Aro Perjadia, here from Embry-Riddle. We also have other co-PIs in this mission that we'll talk about after this first launch. We are now at 2 minutes and counting. Mark.
PTM check 434.
PLC check 435. Actual launcher settings are azimuth 100.4, elevation 79.2.
Copy that. LC check 436.
ACS check 437.
Experiment, you go.
Experiment go.
PLC,
PLC go.
PTM,
Go.
STM,
Go.
ACS,
Go.
PI,
Go.
SRPO,
Go.
check 438, 439.
1 minute. SPLC check 441 go. -50 seconds. -40. -30.
Arm verified. Check item 445.
-20, 19, 18, 17, 16,
ACS check 447,
15,
go.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark T0.
And our first APEP rocket has left the rail. Let's listen in.
Fixed TM
Ignition
readout
squid.
locked.
Motor pressure. +20.
All TM antennas tracking.
30.
Here's now a look inside our RCC. That's the range team,
plus 40.
as well as sounding rockets. Our PI, Dr. Brajati, is also in the room. All now observing the data on the screens in front of
Plus
them.
50.
As we have launched
Squib. 1
our
minute.
first rocket
Separation
of a
squib
3-rocket
and
salvo today from Wallops Island as part of the APEP mission.
ACS 1.
Swarm
ACS
door
on
squib.
target.
Eject squib. Got all plunger switches and brake wires. Aft skirt squib.
Good lock on all 4 swarm. All are transmitting at high power. ACS 2 target.
Boom squib. Looks like all 4 booms extended. Looks like the 0 degree boom did not deploy.
Okay, we've passed 2 minutes, 40 seconds in flight for our first launch from the MRL launcher here at Wallops Flight Facility in support of the APEP launches. So thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. Just some information, some background on the 3-rocket salvo we'll be doing here today. Each rocket will deploy, you'll hear some of the chatter on the range networks. Each rocket is planning to deploy sub-payloads about the size of a 2-liter bottle of soda. Each rocket essentially creates 5 suborbital profiles, providing 15 different data sets from just 3 rockets. So that's all the data we're going to get from 3 launches today here at Wallops. The atmospheric and ionospheric perturbations can happen at any time and place, but why we like the Eclipse, or why scientists like the Eclipse, not including myself in that group of folks, most science campaigns have a 2 to 3 week window. With eclipses, they know exactly when this dynamic is going to happen, allowing science teams to craft an easy and comprehensive experiment to study the basic physics that would take them weeks, as said before. Again, this is the APEP mission.
So this is LPM. Are we clear to go outside just to check for any gross hazards?
So we're listening now to the LPM request permission.
Yeah, you're clear.
Go out to the pad
Copy that.
from the test director. Just going to check around, make sure there's no hazards, obvious hazards around the pad, safe the pad, and then we'll get ready to move on to our next rocket from our ARC launcher, which will be not on camera yet. They'll swing cameras around for a good view of that launch. And that one is slated for a 15:20 p.m. here on the Eastern time. Rocket number 2. Right now, we're going to share a video, the Eclipse explainer video. So enjoy.
On April 8th, 2024, portions of the United States will get to enjoy the sight of a total solar eclipse. The last time this took place was back in August of 2017, so this is a good time to refresh our memory as to what's going to happen, why it occurs, and let you know where you can watch the show in the sky. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon moves between the Earth and the sun, blocks the sun's light, and casts a shadow on the Earth. When the moon completely covers the bright disk of the sun, that's a total solar eclipse. This differs from a lunar eclipse, where the moon is behind the Earth, so it's now the Earth blocking the sun's light on the moon, creating a shadow on it with a red tint. To remember the difference, just remember what object gets darker. With the solar eclipse, it's the sun, and during a lunar eclipse, it's the moon. Because the moon's shadow is relatively small, a total solar eclipse is a pretty rare event to see. In order to do so, you have to be on the sunny side of the planet and within the path of the moon's shadow. And that path is affected by the Earth's rotation, moon's orbit, and where they are in their orbit around the sun. There are a lot of moving parts that go into creating this incredible sight. And speaking of parts, during a solar eclipse, the moon is actually casting a shadow consisting of two parts, the umbra and penumbra. The moon's umbra is the part of the moon's shadow where the entire sun is blocked by the moon. In space, it's a cone extending about 232,000 miles behind the moon. It's when the small end of this cone hits the Earth that a total solar eclipse can be seen. Those factors are why only a limited number of locations on Earth get to actually see it. So, if you find your area in the totality this year, treasure the sight, because on average, that same spot on Earth won't see another total solar eclipse for 375 years. The area around Carbondale, Illinois, however, has hit the cosmic jackpot, get to experience this year's eclipse, as well as the one from 2017. But their next view of a total solar eclipse won't happen until the year 2343. When you check out an eclipse map that depicts the path of totality, keep this in mind. While many maps will show a circle representing the moon's shadow, the true shape of the umbra is more like an irregular polygon with slightly curved edges. This is due to the fact that the moon isn't a smooth sphere. It has mountains, valleys, and craters on its surface, all of which affect the passing sunlight and shape of the resulting shadow. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft, which is orbiting the moon since 2009, has provided scientists with incredibly detailed photographs, terrain maps, and other sets of data that have allowed us to better understand the shape of the moon's surface. This, in turn, has given us the ability to create more finely detailed maps depicting which specific areas on Earth lie within a solar eclipse's path of totality. Regions outside the narrow path, depending on their distance from it, will get to witness a partial eclipse to varying degrees. As you can see, the penumbra shadow passes over almost all of North and Central America, as well as Greenland, Iceland, and the Western British Isles. This 2024 total solar eclipse is therefore giving millions of people the opportunity to share in this rare and dynamic interaction between our Earth, Sun, and Moon.
Thanks, Jamie, for that video. I didn't have to say penumbral or autumnal and explain the shadows there. That was very good. I enjoyed that video. Education. Welcome back. We are here at Wallops Flight Facility in support of the APET mission from NASA Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. During this mission, we're going to launch 3 identical sounding rockets. We've already launched 1. This is going to study how the sudden drop in sunlight affects our upper atmosphere. The mission, known as Atmospheric Perturbations Around the Eclipse Path, or APEP, is led by our PI, Dr. Raro Berjadia. He's a professor of engineering physics at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida, and his research team is no stranger to Wallops. They've had mission launch from this site as recently as August of 2022. That mission was named SPEED, also an acronym, SPEED Demon, tested technology that will be used on today's mission. So not only the team is no stranger to launching at Wallops, the payload that's launched today has already successfully flown on a Wallops rocket. The same set of experiments were launched during the annular eclipse on October 14th in 2023 from the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. APEP is designed to measure changes in the atmosphere during the solar eclipses using instruments such as Langmuir probes, electric field probes, magnetometers, ionization gauges, and accelerometers. Simultaneous multi-point measurements will be achieved by ejecting 4 instrumented deployables from each payload, or swarm. Springs are used to deploy the ejectables at a velocity of 3 meters per second, and they will take data for about 7 to 8 minutes. This allows taking measurements in a larger volume of space. So in the T plus, or in the T plus count, you heard a lot of chatter going on about ejecting things from the vehicle.
Yeah, when you
that's what that was discussing.
Approximate when the next T0 is, I can put it out to our external partners.
Copy. Stand by.
And you heard the T asking for our next targeted T0, which we have 3:20 p.m. here local on the East Coast. 1840 Zulu or MT for those listening outside of the eastern seaboard. We now have our camera zoomed in on the ARC launcher, which will be the next launcher for the next rocket launch here.
On all assets.
TD is SRPO.
Go for TD.
We're targeting the nominal T0 for second one of 1520.
M&O DPM.
M&O.
Copy 1520.
So as you just heard, we're sticking with the originally targeted 1520 or 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time T0 for the second rocket in the APEP mission. Let's listen in to range control.
Go for TD.
I'm going to let the B clock roll and then fire the next vehicle on the A clock, if that's okay.
DPM, M&O.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Cruiser stopped.
Thank you, sir. Check 453.
MM, this is PM.
Far away RSO.
Go ahead.
Vehicle performed nominally. Check item 454.
Copy that.
And TM and SRPO, I'm going to go ahead and clock at T-minus 15 without objection.
SRPO concurs.
PM concurs. I just want to keep the B clock rolling for safety reasons.
Copy. Programmer, A clock at T-minus 15 minutes and holding, please.
Roger, 15 and holding.
And LPM, do you need to align cameras again?
That's affirmed. We'll send them out now.
All right. Got arc avoidance?
RC, ROA.
Not necessary.
RC, go ahead.
It's not necessary. You don't need it. LPM TD, you don't need arc avoidance?
That's affirmed. We do not need RF avoidance.
Copy.
And as you can see, we're taking a peek back into the RCC now, Range Control Center. As we've reset the clock to 15 minutes and holding, so they'll pick up to get closer to the terminal count for our second rocket launch today from Wallops Flight Facility, targeting a 3:20 local departure from the rail. We're about, let's call it 27 minutes away from our second launch. Just an overview of the rockets being used today. The vehicles for this scientific endeavor are Black Brant 9s, which are specifically designed for high altitude research. These rockets will soar to altitudes of up to 350 kilometers or 270 miles each, standing at an impressive 53 feet. Let's listen in now for a science update we have coming across the RCC feed.
And programmer TD.
This programmer, go ahead.
Why don't you just set us up for a 1920 T0?
Roger, can do.
As you can see there at the bottom of the screen, our PI, Dr. Verjadia, conferring with his science team. We're waiting now for a science update. Closely listening to the range feed to see if we have satisfaction on deployment of these sub payloads from the first rocket. that launched from Wallops just 24 minutes ago. Let's listen in.
One, two, three, four, five.
While we wait for our PI and some science updates, back to the rockets. The Black Brant 9s are a two-stage rocket, which means they have two separate engines that fire in sequence to reach higher altitudes. That first stage is powered by a Terrier motor and will thrust the rocket, while the second stage uses the Black Brant motor. Both motors are powered by solid fuel, which will burn quickly, meaning this will be a very fast rocket. So as you saw from our first launch today, if you look away, you're going to miss it coming off the rail. Make sure we pay attention. It doesn't climb much like the Antares rockets that launch here to resupply the ISS. The sounding rockets are typically used to gather information about a specific phenomena or to test new technologies or instruments in a space-like environment. As we said earlier, we're getting right to the edge of space in the ionosphere today with these rockets, and they are fast off the rail. Check back in with the range feed. Continuing more information about these sounding rockets. As we said, get right to the edge of space, a space-like environment with a sounding rocket. They're not designed to reach orbit or stay in space for an extended period of time. They're designed to reach suborbital altitudes, typically between 50 and 1,500 kilometers above the Earth's surface before returning to the ground. Today's rockets are expected to reach a maximum altitude of 340 kilometers. These rockets are provided and built and integrated with the payloads on board as part of NASA's Sounding Rockets program, coordinated by the Sounding Rockets Program Office, or SRPO, located right here, NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center's Wallops Flight Facility. The Sounding Rocket Program Office plays a crucial role in providing suborbital launch vehicles, payload development, and field operations support for NASA and other government agencies across the globe, not just here at Wallops. They work hand in hand with the Sounding Rocket user community, offering launch opportunities that span a wide range of science applications. The partnership with RPO enables these rocket launches to contribute to NASA's strategic vision and goals in earth science, heliophysics, and astrophysics. The annual suborbital missions, approximately 20 of them, not only provide researchers with unparalleled opportunities for scientific research, but also allow the testing and development of new instrument and sensor concepts. These rockets are, of course, more than just instruments of research. They are a training ground for the next generation of space scientists. The short mission life cycle, coupled with hands-on instrument design and integration, ensures that future scientists receive the training and experience necessary for NASA's larger, more complex space science missions. It's a platform that stimulates innovation, technology, maturation, and rapid responses to scientific events. And it looks like our camera is back on our next launcher. All right. Yeah, we're ready for our next launcher, which will be the ARC. And we're still targeting that 1920 Zulu or GMT time, which will be a 3:20 local here on the East Coast for our second rocket in the APEP launch campaign, a 3-rocket salvo launching today from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility.
Go ahead.
All right, so we looked at the main payload data so far. It looks like all the booms did deploy, and the data does look pretty good. There are some squibbles on the accelerometer on the main payload that we seem to be seeing. We'll have to look more into that as to what that sporadic squibbles on the accelerometer are. We are still looking at the data of the ejectables, but it looks like all of them came out. And at first look, the coning looked smaller, which is very good. Yeah, and you know, as such, all the main payload instruments work great. Signals looked better than what we had seen during Vismer. So all that's good, and I'll keep you posted as we analyze the sub-payload data more. Over.
So we just heard from our PI, Dr. Arod Brajadia, and his science update. It all sounds optimistic. Good data set coming in from our first launch of 3 here at Wallops Flight Facility. We've had some questions come online we wanted to address. Can I see the rocket contrails with my Eclipse glasses on? So no, you won't be able to see the rocket's contrail in the sky with your Eclipse glasses on. As long as you aren't looking directly at the sun, you can remove your glasses and look at the rocket and the rocket contrail. Again, do not look directly in the sun. This day or any day, but especially today, right? We don't look directly in the sun. I had to tell my mother that today via text. She asked me, if I wear my glasses, can I look at the sun? And I said, did you get Eclipse glasses? She goes, no, my prescription glasses. No, Mom, please don't wear those. Wear Eclipse glasses. We now have a video we're going to share with you on how to safely observe solar eclipse.
For many people, viewing a total solar eclipse in person is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But whether you're a first-time viewer or an avid eclipse chaser, solar eclipse safety is essential. It may be tempting to gaze directly at the sun or to use your regular sunglasses during these celestial events. Don't. Regular sunglasses aren't good enough. You need proper, solar-safe viewing glasses or an indirect viewing method whenever the bright face of the sun is visible. The only time you can look at a total solar eclipse without eye protection is during the brief period of totality when the moon completely covers the sun. Viewing any part of the sun's bright disk without protection, even for a short amount of time, could cause serious eye damage. One of the most common methods used to view a solar eclipse is with solar viewing glasses, also known as eclipse glasses. Eclipse glasses are specifically made to protect your eyes from the sun's intense rays and are different from ordinary sunglasses. Before using any eclipse or solar viewing glasses, check that they are ISO certified. If your eclipse glasses appear scratched or damaged, do not use them, as this could result in serious eye injury. Another easy way to safely view a solar eclipse is with pinhole projection. This is useful if you don't have access to eclipse glasses or other safe solar filters, and offers an easy way to quickly view the magic of the eclipse. There are several techniques you can choose from for this viewing method. The simplest is to use your hands. With your back to the sun, cross one hand over the other with outstretched fingers to create a waffle pattern. Look at your hand's shadow on the ground. The little spaces between your fingers will project a grid of small images of the sun, showing the sun's crescent shape during the eclipse. You can also see a similar effect as the sun shines through holes formed between tree leaves. The tiny spaces between the leaves act as pinhole projectors, scattering images of the sun on the ground. Anything with small holes like a hole-punched index card or even a colander from your kitchen will work too. If you're feeling crafty, you can build a box pinhole viewer. Using everyday household items, this method streams sunlight through a pin-sized hole to project an image of the sun onto a white sheet of paper taped inside the box. The longer the box, the bigger your image of the sun will be. For an even bigger image, you can use optical projection. This viewing method uses a telescope or binoculars affixed with a solar filter to project the image of the sun onto a large viewing surface. This method creates a bigger, brighter, and sharper image that many people can view at the same time. However, You should not attempt optical projection unless you are an experienced astronomer and can supervise your equipment at all times. Want a closer look? When using a telescope, binocular, or other optical device, you must first install a certified solar filter to the front of your instrument. Eclipse glasses can't be used with these devices. The certified solar filters block most of the sunlight before it enters the device, safely giving the operator a front row seat to see the eclipse in even more detail. Experiencing a solar eclipse is one way everyone can participate in NASA science. Now you have the knowledge to participate safely. Happy eclipse viewing!
Observing our eclipse today. I'm sorry. Great video. Thank you. Thank you to my assistant. Another great video to explain some safety as we addressed earlier. Yeah, if you're looking to see the rockets in flight, the contrails in flight, obviously if you're looking away from the sun, you can move your glasses and look for the rockets and observe the contrails in the sky. Do not look directly at the sun, even though it's obscured. It's still very powerful, if not more. So, and it will do damage to your eyes. So do not remove your glasses directly into the sun, but away from them, you can try to catch the rockets and their contrails in flight. On camera now is our next launcher, the ARC from Wallops Flight Facility. We have launched one. Welcome back. We've launched one of 3 rockets as part of a 3-rocket salvo today from Wallops Flight Facility. We just passed 13 minutes, 13 minutes and counting for our second rocket launch as part of the APEC mission, or atmospheric perturbations around the eclipse path. Today, of course, many people across the United States here in North America, from Texas to Maine, will be treated to a stunning astronomical event, a total solar eclipse. The moon will cross in front of the sun, block the light from our star, darkening the skies, freezing the path of totality, and many people outside the path will see a partial eclipse. We here in the Virginia Wallops region are going to get about an 81% totality around peak totality time, which is 1530-ish, 330? 322 will be the most we'll see at 81% here in the Wallops region. This mission is led by Dr. Arob Barjadia from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and they're aiming to study how the sudden reduction in sunlight during the eclipse affects our upper atmosphere, or ionosphere. We just passed 12 minutes and counting for our second launch in the APEC mission. You can see the ARC launcher here. We've done station checks are complete. We're awaiting final launcher settings that we'll get. ROA will request from the RSO, and after the RSO safety analysis, they will pass on the final settings. ROA will then pass those to LC, you'll hear as an acronym for launch control, out at the pad, and they will adjust the rail with the vehicle on board, and we will be set to go for the second launch and our 3-rocket salvo as part of the APEC mission from Wallops Flight Facility today during the total solar eclipse.
Termed okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. 10 minutes and counting.
ACS check 473, 474.
TDRSO, this is PM on channel 1. PI wants to hold at T-minus 3 minutes. Do you copy?
Copy. Do you have an idea for how long he's going to want to hold? Because I might need to get some more balloons up in the air.
PO check 470.
The intent is to hold for not more than 5 minutes. Would you need another balloon?
So no more than 5 minutes? Is that my understanding?
We're going to hold at 3 minutes for no more than 5 minutes, then pick it up.
Copy. I think we'll be okay.
Copy. Programmer, when we get to 3 minutes, if you would hold.
Yes, programmer.
PLC check 471 and 472.
Program is TD. We're going to hold at T-minus 3 minutes.
Roger, copy. Hold at 3.
We're going to pick it up no later than 5 minutes from that.
Roger, I'll await your word, sir.
RC DPM.
This is RC, go.
Request interrogation of transponder.
Inward.
Check 475. MNO DPM.
M&O.
Record RF parameters and report TM lock.
Okay, as we just heard, the PI has requested a hold at T-minus 3 minutes. We're passing 8 minutes now and counting. Once we get to 3 minutes, we're going to hold no longer than 5 minutes. Our assumption is the PI is waiting on something he wants to see in the science realm. So we'll wait. That would put us to 322, and then plus the 3 we're holding would be a new T0 around 325 local here, Eastern time. Or earlier, right? They could pick it up. So we've got the live feed on. We will hear 5 minutes would have been the max. So max T0, the latest would be 325. It could be earlier. But we're all listening in with wanting ears as we approach totality here at 322 local in the Wallops, Virginia area. And we will hold at T-minus 3 minutes. We are coming up on 7 minutes now and counting. We will hold for no longer than 5 minutes. Let's listen back to range control. There'll be a lot of chatter here now as we are in the terminal count, and all folks are providing inputs.
MNO DPM.
M&O.
Confirm good lock on swarms.
Stand by.
STM check 485.
DPM AO, I can confirm that readout has a lock on all 4 swarms. Fixed TM has a lock on 1 through 3 swarms.
EXP check 486, good swarm data.
Copy MNO check 484.
SPLC 487.
RSO, ROA.
This is RSO, go ahead.
Provide final wind-weighted settings for ARC.
Final wind-weighted settings are as follows. Azimuth 100.9, elevation 79.3.
Azimuth 100.9, elevation 79.3.
Good readback.
As we just heard, we got our final wind-weighted settings for our launcher from our SO to the ROA. She will pass that on to the launch control out on the island, and they will set the launcher. We're passing T-minus 5 minutes now, expecting a hold around 3 minutes. Just some information on the payload. As we talked about earlier, to capture a wide variety of data, these rockets are using technology that was developed and proven right here at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility. The swarm communications technology will release 4 sub-payloads that are carrying scientific instruments that will measure changes in electric and magnetic fields, density, and of course temperature. The swarm canisters act like additional rockets with their own telemetry and scientific instruments, and each rocket will carry 4 swarm canisters which you can picture as a similar size and shape as a metal coffee thermos or a 2-liter bottle of soda. By ejecting multiple sub-payloads away from the main payload, the science team can collect additional valuable data. Each canister streams its unique telemetry and science data using onboard radios through the host rocket's communication system to the ground. Each rocket is carrying an identical set of 4 sub-payloads in the form of swarm capsules. 3 of the swarm capsules contain instruments built by a team from Embry-Riddle, and the 4th swarm capsule was built by researchers from Dartmouth College up in New Hampshire. Swarm is not an acronym. One of the challenges when designing a rocket payload is making sure it's properly protected during launch. When rockets experience extreme heat, pressure, and vibrations during the launch, so payloads must be designed to withstand these conditions and the rigor they are about to be put through. The payload skin that contains the scientific instruments for this rocket was designed and tested by the Sounding Rocket Program Office right here at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. We are at 3 minutes, 35 seconds and counting, expecting a hold at 3 minutes, which would be no longer than 5 minutes. So our latest T0 would be 3:25 local, 1925 GMT or Zulu time. We're coming up now on 3 minutes, 15 seconds, and we'll expect the hold. Let's listen into range audio.
Three minutes and holding.
PI, this is SRPO.
Go ahead, SRPO.
Let us know when you want to pick up the count.
Sounds like a plan.
So it's best if we don't just try to pick it up right away. If we can announce a time that says this is the time we're going to start if we can.
Current plan still is to pick up the count at 3:22, which would be the 5-minute hold from 17 to 20. That's the current plan.
TD, the planned new T0 is 1525. Do you copy?
1525.
Programmer copies as well, TD.
RSO, do you copy?
So as we just heard, SRPO polled the PI, who is our principal investigator, that's Dr. Brajadia, and he wishes to go to the end of the window, 5 minutes as the maximum hold they had indicated earlier. So we will go to that, putting our new T0 at 3:25 p.m. local and 1925 GMT or Zulu time. I want to take this chance to talk about some of the teams that are involved in this launch salvo here from Wallops. Instruments on board the rocket were built by students and faculty members from Embry-Riddle, Dartmouth College in New Hampshire as well. A host of ground-based observations are going on throughout the nation today, and they're also going to support this mission. Co-investigators from the Massachusetts Institute of Technologies, Haystack Observatory in Westford, Massachusetts, will run their radar to measure ionospheric perturbations further away from the eclipse path. And as well, a team of students from Embry-Riddle down in Florida will deploy high-altitude balloons reaching 100,000 feet every 20 minutes to measure weather changes as the eclipse passes by. All of these measurements will aid ionosphere modeling efforts led by scientists at the University of Colorado Boulder and Embry-Riddle. Those are the teams involved in the science portion here. Of course, we spoke about our SRPO, our Sounding Rockets Program Office here at Wallops. We also have Wallops range personnel involved, from project managers to test directors, launch pad managers, OCOM team, all the folks involved. Range safety, we have range safety officers. We have surveillance of hazard areas, a whole department within the range surveils offshore and in the general vicinity to make sure that we keep the public, aviation, and our mariners safe from anything we're doing with regards to the launch. Again, our cameras are fixed back on our next launcher, the ARC launcher, which is a rail launcher. We do have our final settings. We're still 3 minutes, and holding, and about, call it 5 minutes from T0 once we pick up the count. 1525 is confirmed for our next T0. So let's listen in at range control.
Stations, if you're looking at a monitor straight ahead of us, looks like we got individuals that are on the hook that shouldn't be. RSO is looking at it to determine whether we're green or red at this time.
Three minutes.
Hey, Jordan, can you zoom in? We can see how many people are in there.
Zoom in on camera.
FLIR.
Stand by.
Go ahead. This is SRP. Are you guys picking up?
Yep.
PLC check 491.
So we need to know whether you're going to hold us or not.
I think we're okay. TD, I'm just we're given a based on number of people we see, getting the sub C value and making sure we're below our fixed values.
Copy.
PLC check 492.
ACS check 493.
M&O, DPM.
M&O.
Report TM lock and verify no change in TM signal strength.
Standby.
RC, DPM.
RC, go.
TDR, so we are within values.
PTM check 499.
RC, confirm no change.
PLC check 497, 498.
Change in transponder.
500.
DPM M&O, report TM lock and verify no change.
LC ACS, do you have final launcher settings?
Yes, I was waiting
Check
for the net to calm down.
494,
Actual launcher settings are as 100.9, elevation 79.3.
Copy, LC.
SPLC check 506, go.
ACS check 52.
Experiment, you go.
Experiment, go.
PLC.
PLC, go.
PTM.
Go.
STM.
Go.
ACS.
Go.
PI.
Go, go, go.
SRPO.
Go.
Check 503, 504.
30.
Arming verified. Check item 510.
20.
ACS check 512, go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Radar subtracting.
Ignition squib, motor pressure.
Success. And our second vehicle has left the rail of the ARC launcher here, live from Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. As part of the APEP launches, a 3-rocket salvo that NASA Wallops Flight Facility is launching today in conjunction with Dr. Auro Berjadia from the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Florida. APEP, of course, is an acronym. Atmospheric perturbations around the Eclipse path. We are launching 3 rockets today, 4 sub-payloads on each, for a total of 12 different data sets that will be collected today, and back to the universities and academia for study in our ionosphere. Let's listen in as we're in the plus count, and we take a look in the RCC. Bottom of the screen center is our PI, Dr. Berjadia, and his science team.
Swarm squib, all plunger switches. Eject squib, all brake wires.
ACS-1 complete.
Half skirt squib and brake wire.
STM has lock on all Dallas units. All are transmitting at high power.
We had splash on the booster.
ACS-2 aligned and complete.
I show all 6 potentiometers, show booms deployed. As far as micro switches, I got all except for the 0-degree micro switch.
TD, RSO, this LPM, can we check outside for gross hazards?
So you good with that?
RSO's good with that. We're at plus 2 minutes.
We're good.
As we approach 5 minutes in flight for our second vehicle launch here from Wallops Flight Facility today as part of the APEP mission, we can go. I wanted to discuss one more time about the mission that is at hand here. We have 1 launch left of 3, known as the atmospheric perturbations around Physics at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. This research team is no stranger to Wallops and had a mission launch from this site as recently as August 2022. That mission, named Speed Demon, tested technology that will be used on today's mission. Not only is the team no stranger to launching at Wallops, but the payload that's being launched today has already successfully flown from right here on a Wallops rocket, courtesy of our Sounding Rocket Program Office. The same set of experiments were launched during the annular eclipse on October 14th, 2023 from the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. We are now approaching 6 minutes in flight, and we'll listen into range control for an update on the next launch, which is slated for a T0 of 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time or 16:05.
ACS-3 aligned and complete.
SRPO TD, do you have an estimated next T0?
Stand by. TD, SRPO.
Go for TD.
We're currently targeting a new nominal T0 of 1615, but the PIs continue to assess.
Copy.
When do you want to make that decision, SRPO? Do you want to push through the same way we did last time or hold earlier? TD's PM, we're going to conduct the same plan we did last time, shifting the 0 15 with a hold at T-3 to get there. Do you concur?
Concurs.
RSO, do you copy?
RSO copies, 1615.
LOS for TM assets.
PTM, this is PI.
LOS, all radars.
Did you call STMPI?
I called PTM to see if he can replay us the data.
I'm setting it up now.
Excellent, thanks.
PI, PTM.
Go ahead, PTM.
Should be playing back. Let me know if you see something.
Yes, we are seeing data. What time is this? Is it before launch or at launch?
It's about 40 seconds before launch.
Okay, we are getting data.
And MNO, do we have TMLOS?
Yes, sir. I called out TMLOS at 1936.
Copy. And did we stop recorders?
Yes, sir.
Copy. Okay, programmer, set us up for 2015 T0.
Roger, set up 2015.
ROA, RSO.
Go ahead.
Vehicle performed nominally. Check item 519.
Copy that.
And SRPO, any reason to take measurements?
Negative. They can go ahead and de-elevate the ARC.
Copy. PM, you copy?
PM copies.
LCTD, the launcher is yours.
LC copies.
And RSO TD on one.
Yes, RSO, go ahead.
Do you care for a quick discussion with SC on channel 5 about these 3 people?
I think that'd be a great idea. Let me change my headset better.
Okay, RSO and SC, let's go to channel 5, please.
And welcome back, and thanks again for joining us for the broadcast of the APET mission, 3-rocket salvo from here at Wallops Flight Facility. Camera is now zeroed in on our final launcher, the 50K launcher, which will be our final of the 3-rocket launch event today. We just passed 32 minutes and counting for the final rocket. We go over some 10 things to know about the ionosphere. I dug up from science.nasa.gov. In case you didn't know, the last total eclipse that we had visible here from North America was in 2017. And the next total solar eclipse that will be visible from North America will not happen until the year 2044. So we're going to have a while to wait for our next one. That's why our PI, Dr. Brajati, is very excited about the data set he's going to get collected from this event here at Wallops today and the launch of 3 rockets into the ionosphere. Some things about the ionosphere. It's a home to all the charged particles in the Earth's atmosphere. Earth's ionosphere overlaps the top of the atmosphere and the very beginning of space. So we're right on the edge of space as we enter into the ionosphere. The sun cooks gases there until they lose an electron or two, which creates a sea of electrically charged particles. The ionosphere is also where Earth's atmosphere meets space. It stretches roughly 50 to 400 miles above the Earth's surface, right at the edge of space. Along with the neutral upper atmosphere, the ionosphere forms the boundary between Earth's lower atmosphere, where we live and breathe, and the vacuum that is space.
MM check, 521.
We hear him checking through the countdown right now. At 521, and our total count for the 3 rockets today. Sometimes the ionosphere changes, and sometimes it's unpredictable. The ionosphere is constantly changing because it's formed when particles are ionized by the sun's energy, and the ionosphere changes from Earth's day side to night side. When the night falls, the ionosphere thins out as previously ionized particles relax and recombine back into neutral particles. That's why the eclipse is of interest to our PI, because this is all happening inside of a very short window where they can target the science with their vehicles and sub-payloads that are deployed. We just passed T-minus 30 minutes and counting for our final launch. So let's listen into range control.
That's a firm. In work.
ROA, just checking. Did we already get RF avoidance?
You didn't need it the last time.
Copy.
Do you need RF avoidance for this one?
No, that's a negative. Do not need it.
Copy. TV off console for 5 minutes.
ROA LPM.
Go ahead.
Check items 523 and 524. Pad 2 is clear.
Copy that.
I'm an OSPM. We need to verify that radar is on and operational.
Confirm.
Copy. Check 525. TD's PM. We're a bit early, but I'd like to request permission to move into terminal count.
I have no objections to that.
PI, PTM.
Go ahead, PTM.
That's it for the playback. Is that good?
That is good. Thank you. I'm still looking at the data. We'll report back in a minute. Okay, SRPO, PTM, giving a little update.
Go for PI.
All right, so yeah, on this one again, it looks like all the booms came out. I see where Adam says that.
Actually be water trapped there.
Incredible. So one thing that we've talked a little bit about on the broadcast is space weather, and space weather is really important to understand, especially when it comes to the safety of our astronauts. Can you describe how the instruments Ursa and Hermes are actually helping keep our astronauts safe?
Yeah, Ursa and Hermes are payload science instruments that we'll have on our Gateway. Gateway is going to be a station, a research station that orbits the moon, and astronauts can stop there on their way to the surface of the moon. And these payloads, or these science instruments, will be there to basically detect what the solar weather is like, what we call space weather, so that radiation that our astronauts will live in when they're actually there. So understanding your weather is the best way to be prepared for it.
Absolutely. Well, you've given us a lot to be excited about. Jake, thank you for being here on this incredible day.
I would not have missed it.
Well, folks, that is all we have from Indianapolis. Thank you for joining us. It has been a wild ride, pun absolutely intended, and we've had an amazing time. So from all of us here, back to you guys.
Thank you, Lauren. I did enjoy your pun. And now back here in Cleveland, we are joined by Jimmy Kenyon, director of NASA's Glenn Research Center. Thank you for joining us and for hosting us, really.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us here.
Well, so yeah, Glenn Research Center is right here in Cleveland,
Yes.
just down the road. The only NASA center in the Midwest, the only one in today's path of totality. Literally everything aligned for us to get a great show here.
Absolutely. And it has been such a great show here. You could not have asked for better weather. And it's springtime in the Midwest. That's always a little bit of a debate, but you could not have asked for better weather. What a great outing. We're here with our partners at the Great Lakes Science Center, and which hosts our visitor center, so where the people are.
Yep.
And just a great opportunity to have everybody here and connect them with what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hosted this wonderful 3-day event here and invited the community and all your visitors in to come and explore and learn a little bit about Glenn. Why was that important to you?
It's important, but, well, as you know, having a total solar eclipse pass over your community is, for most people, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But to have a total solar eclipse pass over a NASA community like
Right.
Cleveland,
Right.
that's even more rare. But what it does is it creates such a great opportunity to connect people with what we do. Everybody is here paying attention to our planet, paying attention to the moon and the sun and how all of these things work, our solar system and our universe. And that just gives us a great opportunity to say, this is what we do.
Right.
And connect people with that. And you can't pass that kind of an opportunity up.
Right. And speaking of all, like you said, the science, all this discovery that we're enabling today by the eclipse, let's talk more about the science, I know that nothing flies without Glenn. That's what you love to say, Jimmy.
That's
so
right.
Can you explain the center's critical role within NASA?
At NASA Glenn, we work on aircraft propulsion, spacecraft propulsion, power for both aircraft and spacecraft, communications. We also work on materials and testing in extreme environments, but our core competencies of power, propulsion, communications. No aircraft and no spacecraft flies without those three things, and they never will. And so NASA Glenn is literally part of virtually every NASA mission.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and, again, hosting us. This was a wonderful event. I know so many people joined us here and really enjoyed it because we were watching. We were looking out at the crowd.
Yeah.
Lots of smiles. So really, thank you so much. You and the Great Lakes Science Center.
And thank you for being here and being part of this with us and really putting NASA and NASA Glenn on the map here for us.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. Have a great day. All right, and a big thank you to our whole team positioned across the path, from our correspondents to our experts and our telescope operators. We couldn't have done it without all of you. And Sarah, as we're taking again this aerial shot of the Great Lakes Science Center, so beautiful. Such a wonderful way to experience my first total solar eclipse, and I hope you had a good time too, because I know this isn't your first total solar eclipse.
No, this is my second, but it was really great and special to be able to experience it with you and all the folks here.
Yeah, we did notice that people right after, the people were like, whoa, they were trying to get out. There's a lot of really fun events happening in Cleveland, so there's a lot of people in downtown. So I hope that they took some time to look up today and really enjoy what they saw.
Yeah, and not only all of the great views that we had, but we also really did some cool science today too.
Yeah, really, really cool science. And actually, yeah, let's talk about that. You know, NASA's heliophysics big year isn't over yet. You know, we had the annular eclipse, then we had the solar eclipse, and now talk to us about what's happening in December.
Yeah, coming up on Christmas Eve, in fact, Parker Solar Probe will make its closest approach to the sun, 3.9 million miles, which still seems like a long way to me, but apparently that's actually pretty close.
Yeah, I can't believe that's happening. Again, just that it's all, we've been saying this all day, aligning. Everything is aligning for us to have a beautiful show. And so, yeah, you know, Sarah, again, thank you so much. You know, we watched this together, race across Mexico to Maine in only an hour and 28 minutes. And again, we have so much more to look forward to. So we hope you all stay with us as we continue studying our sun and how it affects us, from all of us here at NASA, where we make air and space available for everyone. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.
We are one of 100 billion stars in a vast galaxy, but for all of human culture on Earth, one sun that nourishes us all.
Time now to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense, April happens to be Mosquito Awareness Month, and researchers say our changing climate is responsible for more and more of those blood-sucking bugs right here in the Tar Heel State.
Warming temperatures could be spreading bugs and diseases. Let's connect the dots. North Carolina is becoming a hot spot for mosquitoes, and it's all because of the weather. Mosquitoes thrive in humidity and temperatures between 50 and 95 degrees. Data from Climate Central found it's leading to longer mosquito seasons. Here in the Southeast, 60% of the year has climate perfect for mosquitoes. But it doesn't just mean you're getting more bug bites. Researchers say it can lead to the spread of everything from West Nile to Zika virus. Now, North Carolina officials are stepping up awareness. They're launching a campaign this month to make sure people protect themselves with repellent and protective clothing. And that is Connecting the Dots.
And right now, with the rising cost of living, buying a home for many families can seem like a goal that's out of reach. But a Charlotte nonprofit wants to help single mothers cross that finish line. WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood shares how Gracious Hands is seeking solutions to the affordable housing crisis and helping moms get ahead.
Gracious Hands is not only helping moms have hope, but also walking alongside them until they finally have a home of their own. That process starts right here at a home in North Charlotte.
So this is our meeting area.
It's been years since Octavia Lindsay first walked these halls in search of a safe place for her and her little girl.
I was in an abusive relationship. Somebody told me about Gracious Hands. When I did come in with my daughter, everybody was so welcoming.
This Gracious Hands location is one of 3, all housing single moms. A passion for the nonprofit's founder, Dr. Sanja Chisholm.
I was a single mom myself, so I would always say, you know, when I hit the lottery, I was going to one day open up a shelter.
That was 9 years ago, and since then, Chisholm says more than 360 women and 1,000 kids have been supported, with the goal of each mom boosting their credit score, saving $5,000, and getting into a new home.
I never grew up where somebody would tell me about finances, home ownership, and she was like, we're gonna get your credit together, and my credit got together, and here I am, a homeowner.
Chisholm says the high cost of living and lack of affordable options are just one barrier for moms. Access to daycare is another.
It's not a one path for each woman.
While the program provides child care, Chisholm hopes to see more funding go toward Gracious Hands and others like it, so that more moms looking for a safe place.
This is where we started at, in this room.
Can cross another barrier, knowing that it's possible.
Mom, I'm ready to go home. Just for her to say that makes me feel good because I have a home for her.
Lindsay now works for the program, helping other moms achieve their dreams.
Gracious Hands is working to expand and offer more space for moms with teenage boys. If you'd like to donate, you can find out more by searching for this story on our website, WCNC.com. Reporting in North Charlotte, Kaylin Hagwood, WCNC Charlotte.
With your help,
WCNC Charlotte is making a difference in our community.
Beautiful day, so many people helping. This is incredible.
Let's spread that love tonight.
Here is a $5,000 check that you guys can use to further the mission.
There is nothing on earth like the feeling of giving back with your hands.
$5,000 to you and Block Love Charlotte for what you guys do.
If you'd like to make a difference, go to WCNC.com/make-a-difference now.
Time now to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. For a lot of us, online deliveries are constantly sitting on our front step. But there's a new push to make the process a whole lot better for the environment.
Amazon's trying to get rid of brown boxes, but it still has a long way to go. Let's connect the dots. CNBC reports Amazon goes through enough boxes to pave a 1-mile wide road from Charlotte to Los Angeles 3 times over. And the online retailer is looking to change that. The idea is to try and ship products in their original packaging. But it's a whole process to make that happen. Amazon's working with vendors to make sure packages don't get damaged during delivery. They have to survive drops, vibrations, and shaking. But some products like groceries and liquids need extra support. Amazon's experimenting with reusable bags, but it is a challenge to get customers to change habits and use them. But it's all to help reduce waste and save the planet. And that is connecting the dots.
The clock is ticking to when North Carolina daycares will lose their stabilization grants.
This money is currently helping to keep many daycares afloat. Now, a recent study found almost 30% of programs expect to close when these grants they run out in June. If this happens, more than 91,000 kids will be left without care. Those who stay open say they would most likely have to increase fees for parents.
WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pear joining us live in studio right now as those parents and daycare employees are asking, where's the money? Jesse?
Well, providers say when this money comes to an end, they will have to make some cuts and watch their spending to save as much as they can to maintain operations. Now, 52% of the survey respondents say that they have already raised fees, and about 58% say they will increase their fees after June. Now, some increases could be as high as 17%. When children don't have the care they need, it hurts families, and the domino effect continues down from there.
It's our future, and we need to take care of them. You know, if not us, who will take care of them?
Taking care of children is a labor of love.
To be able to provide care for them, to provide a nurturing environment for them, to give them a safe place.
Child care providers feeling the weight of pandemic-era grants coming to an end. Money used to keep some facilities afloat.
It enabled me to increase staff salaries for a lot of people and to give staff bonuses quarterly.
With the funding expiring in June, Eleanor Tolliver, the owner of First Ward Child Development Center, says she's already been forced to make some tough decisions.
Well, we just increased fees Monday, and we had to. You know, we've got to maintain costs.
She's not the only one. A new survey of about 1,500 child care facilities in North Carolina found 88% of programs plan to increase tuition. On top of this, there are expected cuts in teacher hours, transportation services, and more.
In the long run, it hurts the children. I mean, it hurts the children and families. And it hurt us, too, because if they have to close a classroom because they don't have teachers, I mean, what do parents do with their children if their center just up and closed?
We're the backbone of this economy. You know, if we're not here in this building, you know, taking care of these children, parents can't work, you know, and businesses have to realize that. The government has to realize that.
Providers say that daycare teachers are overworked and underpaid, and something needs to be done to stabilize this industry. Back to you guys.
All right, Jesse. Yeah, I mean, like you said, that domino effect.
Yeah.
Sense it for all families.
It's really a tough time. All right, thanks, Jesse.
Verify, WCNC Charlotte.
Verify is all about trying to make a difference in the community by making sure that the community has the correct information. This is what we know, and hey, this is what we don't know. Sometimes you're actually surprised by the answer.
Verify the difference.
Verify is a great way to combat that misinformation, making sure that people know the process of the reporting.
Time now to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. Wild hogs have been in South Carolina since the Spanish brought them over in the 1500s. But now there's a big push to help get those pesky animals under control from the air and on the ground.
two plans to get rid of hogs in South Carolina are getting a lot of attention. Let's connect the dots. Feral hogs are destroying crops, land, and property all over the Palmetto State. The state newspaper reports there's a growing debate over how to get rid of them, with two main ideas. First, a bill that's already passed the House would allow permits for hunting hogs by helicopter for areas of 500 acres or more. It's a program already in place in Georgia, Texas, and Louisiana, but some folks are worried about safety. Another plan is to start a competition, splitting up a $500,000 prize for people who could kill the most hogs. But state wildlife officials say folks could easily cheat the system. Experts say there's not really a perfect solution, but lawmakers agree something needs to be done. And that is connecting the dots.
A CMS teacher and single mother of 3 says she's trying to do everything right, but still finds herself behind the 8 ball financially. So she reached out to a local nonprofit that helps people learn how to budget and is now starting to get ahead on her own money goals. And as WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us, she can answer where's the money with confidence.
Commonwealth Charlotte is changing lives, in many cases teaching basic budgeting skills that a lot of us simply didn't learn, but they're also transforming lives in some cases by literally giving money away. No. Zamora Livingston was a single mom raising 3 kids and working multiple jobs when she decided to go back to school.
And I would just work during the day. We would come home together from school. They did their homework, I did my homework, and then we made it work.
She used to volunteer at her kids' school, then was a teaching assistant when she decided to become a full-blown teacher.
It's very powerful to me because I want them to see if I can do it with all of my responsibilities, you can do it and you don't have these responsibilities.
But now she has student loans and a tight budget, so she sought help from Commonwealth Charlotte, a nonprofit that teaches financial literacy and works to get people financially stable. Counselors help people with reviewing credit reports and analyzing spending habits.
I think that it's amazing because there's no time like now. And she also has children that she wants to be able to teach them about their finances as well.
Livingston is part of a program called 2080, meant to help people save money and ultimately create generational wealth. She contributes money each month, and Commonwealth, thanks to funding grants from the community, matches it.
I'm thinking more of the future. Like, I accomplished my goal of getting my degree and becoming a teacher, but now it's like, what's the next thing? I want to be able to live comfortably when I'm retired, and I want my children to have that same comfort of being able to live and do things that they want to do.
Her son, a senior in high school, wants to attend App State, but instead is choosing to start at CPCC to save money.
That way, when I transfer, it won't be that much.
It's very hard because one side of it is like, I don't want him to, settle. And then the other side is, okay, well, do I need to go out here and get another job or do something different just so I can help to make that dream come true?
Stuck paying her own student loan, she's hopeful her son won't be. And she says she's optimistic now that she's working with Commonwealth Charlotte.
I've been in survival mode for so long, but sticking to a budget has been very helpful. So I have to be very disciplined on what I spend my money on. I can't just go out here and splurge because at the end of the day, we have to have a home to come home to. It does take work, but it's worth it in the end.
Another one of Commonwealth Charlotte's programs that is, again, changing lives. It helps homeowners stay in their homes. If you want information on that or any of their programs, check out our website, WCNC.com. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte wants to help you get ahead in your finances and your money goals. Our Where's the Money team, along with our digital team, have put together a list of resources to help you with all sorts of money matters. Go ahead, scan that QR code, and you can find it for our resource guide, from tax tips to how to lower your insurance rate, and many other ways to save, because we know that every dollar counts. So this guide can make a difference. So just text GET AHEAD to the number you see on your screen, and you'll do just that. That's the first step. Turning now to thing.
I'm so glad they didn't ask me, because that is a big responsibility, because it is right. Everyone went to Texas because usually they have a system that flies in, flies out.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can have what's called atmospheric blocking. And that just means that things, let's call it atmospheric traffic.
Okay.
So what happened was the system, instead of moving quickly off towards the east, Another one's building behind it, so everything's stuck there. So here's the current status. You have clouds that are building down towards the south, right of where you're going to have the path of totality. But look at all that cloud cover. So pretty much the area that's supposed to have the least cloud cover, as Ben knows, growing up around the Great Lakes, that's usually the worst. Actually, they have a better shot in Ohio of seeing a better show than down here in Texas because of all the cloud cover. The good news is this front actually sagged a little bit further down to the south. So if you're watching from Louisiana, you're not seeing the show, and they're going to have an even better partial eclipse than what we're seeing. But let's go along the entire path about what exactly is happening. So the most recent model data showing that, hey, you might actually have some solid breaks. The dark gray represents you see in the ground here. The clouds are actually decreasing. However, these models don't always pick up on what's called upper level clouds that are blocking this likely. But you are still seeing some thicker clouds. Most of the activity is further off towards the east, so that is some good news. Things have definitely improved here in Arkansas. It was raining sheets last night. And then we have much better clearing through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, looking at a decent show, but you are still seeing that cloud cover out and about. Western New York, not good. Buffalo, Rochester, not going to be seeing it. And then northern New England, it's actually Maine that is the only one that has absolute wall-to-wall sunshine. For us, it depends where you are. The further south that you go, South Carolina, you're going to have a better shot at not really a cloud in the sky in some spots, but it's north of I-40 that you are seeing a little bit of rain. This system's actively pushing in, but we are seeing a few breaks. It's south of this line that you have a better shot at a better mix of cloud and sunshine. So here's Dallas right now. This is, I think, the way most of the day is going to look. It's not going to be perfect. So at times, if you are checking out the full show that's about 2.5 hours long, the sun is going to be blocked. That's just going to be the nature of the beast. But there's also a lot of blue sky, so at times you're going to see it for 20 minutes, and it could be blocked for 10. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, up in the mountains, north of I-40, this is the cloud cover. So there's still some breaks here. There's some optimism, but it's a lot thicker further off towards the north. So once you get to that maximum eclipse, that's 80.2%, so you're not going to see the big changes that you're seeing along the path of totality. But this is super cool if you haven't seen it. But you notice that we do have some chunks of clouds, so it depends. Even areas south of what I'm saying could have some building clouds, and I think it's especially starting to build after we hit that max by the end of the day heading into the evening. So it's not a perfect forecast, but it's a pretty dang good looking forecast. So some areas will look like this. This is pointing down towards the south that I mentioned here in Monroe, while others seeing a little bit more cloud cover, but still a delightful day if you're not trying to look at the sun for the entirety of the afternoon. Lower to the mid 70s here from Hickory to Charlotte, and then 63 degrees up in Boone. Check out the ups and downs though. If you missed the 80s, we're going to be back before you know it. By the end of the weekend and next week, we have the lower 80s and then pretty much 70 to 77 through this week. Our lows, anywhere from the 50s to the 60s, only a few days in the 40s, but you notice something's missing from this 10-day low temperature forecast. No 30s. So we're getting closer to not seeing the 30s anymore, and that freezing point is almost in our rear view mirror. The highest chances for rain coming forward, it's Tuesday through Thursday that we're heading back into a wetter period. So scattered rain is going to be possible waking up tomorrow morning, but I really think it's late morning heading into the early afternoon that we have a pulse of rain, and then it's just scattered showers. Starting off your Wednesday morning, more scattered rain starts to roll back in. We actually dry out for the middle of your Wednesday afternoon before another round of showers will start to roll in again. So Wednesday will be the warmest with a decent afternoon, but Thursday, widespread rain expected, even a chance for a thunderstorm. Once that system clears, we dry out and clear out for a picture-perfect weekend.
WCNC Charlotte.
Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community.
See the difference.
That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
Well, the search for answers continues. Several loved ones gathered in South Charlotte this morning, putting out signs and looking for any clues that could help them find 31-year-old Andy Tench, who went missing late last month. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris has more on the search efforts and why many are still holding on to hope.
Community members gathered in South End Charlotte working to piece together what happened to Andy Tench the night that he went missing in hopes of answering the question of where he might be. It's a mother's worst nightmare.
Every time my phone goes off, I'm thinking that's Andy, or hoping that's Andy.
a reality that Tracy Blanton has been living with for weeks.
I haven't even hardly been able to eat because if I go to eat something, I feel guilty, and I'm wondering if he's eating. I'm wondering if he's warm. I'm wondering, is he laying out in the rain somewhere?
Not knowing where her son, Andy, could be. Andy Tench was last seen on March 24th when he was out at bar 316. The same location where loved ones focused their search efforts Saturday morning.
Hopefully people that come in tonight and throughout the week or days to come will see this poster, maybe recognize his face and who he may have been with here at the bar.
The bar joining in to help piece together where the 31-year-old may be.
We will continue to do what we can. We're also going to tonight and tomorrow night in our future shows until he's found. Make announcements on the microphones, using our voice and the platforms that we have to do what we can to find him.
All this as a mother is praying for the best possible outcome.
I just want Andy home. We want him home.
The family has filed a missing persons report with Gaston County Police. Now, CMPD is assisting Gaston County Police in the missing persons search. In South End Charlotte, Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, check this out. Charlotte Shout is in full swing for another week. One of the events that runs the whole week is Spray Jam. It brings together various artists to paint a mural using their unique styles.
WCNC Charlotte photojournalist Donald Fountain spoke with them and shows us how their work is impacting the community.
I mean, this is just really cool that someone took the time to do it, and thank the building owners for letting someone spray on their stuff. Plus, it just makes the city pop, I mean, you try to inspire people like all the time, right?
Perfect! This is so perfect! This is so perfect!
Anytime you can come out uptown and paint with your buddies, and spring weather is a pretty, there's your motivation.
We're trying to support as much as we can, and just trying to bring more art to the city.
And I really like that three-eyed tiger up there. It's so amazing.
Where is the center in between his eyes? It's not like drawing in a sketchbook or painting 24 by 36 canvas. Once you start doing murals and you start going like painting in that kind of a scale, it hooks you. When you're doing public art and you're in a public place, inherently you have sort of a responsibility to kind of lift the community up,
I love it. I love the detail to it.
Because this was a pretty seedy alley. It wasn't really a place you'd want to go hang out.
I really love this ginormous flower. All of this is true art. We need to show this for the whole entire world. For years, centuries, and galaxies.
Like I said, man, what an incredible testament to what art can do to spaces.
Anything. Everybody can do anything if you just believe in yourself.
WCNC Charlotte.
Good morning, Carolinas.
Tune in to the team that's preparing you for your day.
The one and only Larry Sprinkle.
See the difference in your morning.
It is bitter cold just about anywhere you look.
Here's a look right here at I-77 northbound.
Trying to make your dollar stretch a little bit further.
Responsible reporting, community-focused, unique content.
It's so good to see you.
Oh, y'all are having too much fun.
See the difference. Weekday mornings on WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks. New this morning, Charlotte city leaders are working to address the alarming rise in youth crime. New data shows us that 15 to 17-year-olds make up about 4% of Charlotte's population. However, they account for about 10% of all arrests. It's why WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us now from the Government Center. Richard, leaders say we just need to focus on our kids.
That's absolutely correct. They say that is very important, Kia. Good morning to you. A good Tuesday morning all. And they say they need a plan that they can put into action that will help reduce youth crime, they say, over the next half decade. Now, they had this meeting yesterday, and they basically talked about a number of things. This was the group that was tasked with addressing ways to help reduce youth crime in Charlotte. They released some of their findings. The City Council's Housing, Safety, and Community Committee held its April meeting and discussed some of the evidence-based programs that have shown potentials in other cities. They also looked at programs like the ATV, Alternatives to Violence program. They looked at its progress. Research shows that there are several factors that help create youth crime, including access to resources, exposure to trauma, and lack of support for and from families and neighborhoods. Final recommendations should be released sometime next month.
We all recognize there's a sense of urgency around the recommendations, but I think the first week of May is the soonest that we can get there. And while the manager's recommended budget obviously will be out on May 6th, that wouldn't preclude us from entertaining some opportunities in fiscal year 25. We may just have to get creative as we're looking at available funding sources that we could have at our disposal.
And all of the city leaders were also saying, city council members saying it's urgent and it's important that we address this issue and that we also have funding when we ask for these programs. We're right here in Charlotte. Richard Devane, send it back to you.
Now at 5:30, there's a not so silent frustration brewing among consumers over the practice of tipping. A recent Wallet Hub study shows nearly 3 in 4 Americans think tipping has gotten way out of hand. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Nick Sturtevant.
And I'm Jane Monreal. 64% of people think a tip should be given when you feel it is deserved, instead of any time there's a tip jar by the register. A Charlotte restaurant known for its interactive culinary experience is hoping to pioneer a new way of serving its customers. No more tips. Don't think of Counter as your traditional sit-down restaurant.
Counter is an immersive, full experience restaurant.
The restaurant, which is the brainchild of award-winning chef Sam, is a fully interactive dining experience.
We pair wine, music, even art with all of our menus.
Chef Sam is now paving a new path in Charlotte, doing something many restaurants wouldn't ever dare to do.
We are approaching Counter more of a traditional business rather than kind of this makeshift service business that restaurants have been looked at before.
This means getting rid of what Chef Sam calls the, quote, antiquated tipping method.
There will no longer be a line item at the bottom that says service charge or a amount that you can write in for gratuity.
Chef Sam says for him, his employees are always number one, and it's his job to take care of them.
They're getting proper benefits, time off, proper wages, things like that, and in not throwing it into weird, random percentages or hoping that our average guest that comes in will pay them a strong wage.
The famous chef agrees this no-tipping concept might sound a little far-fetched, but he said it can and does work. You just have to sit down and really take a look at your overhead costs.
You look at how much it costs to keep the lights on, how much it is for oil, how much it is for protein, how much it is to pick up something from a farm.
At Counter, Chef Sam says his employees love what they do, so that becomes their motivation, not generating better tips.
So here you meet everyone that works in this building. Everyone from the chefs to our sommeliers to our servers to even our dishwasher.
Even so, Chef Sam believes more traditional restaurants could do without tips too.
The restaurant should be taking much more of a responsibility of taking care of their employees, because you don't see any other industry with this problem.
And it seems most Americans agree with Chef Sam's sentiment. A recent Wallet Hub report found nearly 3 in 5 Americans think businesses are replacing employee salaries with customer tips. And half of Americans say they often leave a tip due to social pressure rather than good service.
Wake up to the news that matters most with meteorologist and traffic reporter Chris Mulcahy.
And we're all clear. We're keeping you smarter, safer, and on time.
Start your day the Mulcahy way. See the difference. 4:30 to 7 on WCNC Charlotte.
Mecklenburg County spent almost $65 million building a new resource center to meet the community's needs. But in the 8 months since it opened in Northeast Charlotte, our Where's the Money team found on average fewer than 20 people an hour are actually visiting the location. By the way, this project was paid for by taxpayer dollars, meaning if you live in Mecklenburg County, your money went towards it. So we started asking questions after a viewer told us about the lack of visitors at the Ella B. Scarborough Community Resource Center. And the commission chairman told our Nate Morabito the county can do more to let people know the new facility even exists.
On a quiet morning,
I think it's real convenient considering it's less than 10 minutes away.
Yvonne Martin starts her day at the Ella B. Scarborough Community Resource Center,
I'm looking for employment.
where a counselor is on hand to help with her job search.
I'm new to the state, so I haven't been here completely a year yet, so I'm trying to utilize all my resources.
That's just one of the many resources under one roof just off Eastway Drive. From healthcare to food assistance, veterans and child support services, to housing and pre-K help.
Very impressed.
An impressive setup, helping people in need every day and easily accessible to people in Northeast Mecklenburg County.
What is our customer volume looking like today?
But 8 months after opening, the average number of daily customer visits sits under 150. Since September, half as many people have walked through these doors compared to the county's Companion Center on Freedom Drive, which opened in 2018. For perspective, there's almost 200 available parking spaces here. But on the morning we visited, just 30 cars. What would you say to taxpayers who might say, well, those numbers seem kind of low? Should we be bothered by this?
Well, number one, we shouldn't be bothered. I think we should celebrate the fact that the facility exists and that it exists